Good morning. The June 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting health and safety as we continue to deal with COVID-19 pandemic, the Board of Estimates will continue to meet virtually. At this time, I will ask our comptroller, Mr. Bill Henry, for any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions to today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no changes or corrections to today's agenda. There is a protest received on pages 71 to 73 for items number 2 and 3, Department of Public Works, Office of Engineering and Construction, SC 954, primary settling tanks numbers 3 and 4, rehabilitation at the Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant. A supplemental in response to protest was received from Robert Fulton DeShiel, Esquire, on behalf of Ullman Schutte Construction, LLC. A supplemental to protest was received from Miles and Stockbridge, PC, on behalf of American Contracting and Environmental Services, Incorporated. And a second supplemental protest was received from Miles and Stockbridge, PC, on behalf of American Contracting and Environmental Services, Incorporated. The following items have been deferred or withdrawn. On pages 2 to 3, Department of Planning non-construction consultant agreement with South Baltimore Gateway Partnership and James Corner Field Operations, LLC is being deferred to June 9th. On pages 13 to 14, Department of Housing and Community Development land disposition agreement with American Communities Trust Incorporated is being withdrawn. On pages 71 to 73, items number 2 and 3, Department of Public Works, Office of Engineering and Construction, SC 954, primary settling tanks numbers 3 and 4, rehabilitation at the Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant is being withdrawn. On pages 81 to 108, Department of Human Resources Administrative Manual Policies for new travel policy is being deferred to June 9th. The following items are being moved to non-routine. On pages 50 to 51, Bureau of the Budget and Management Research, fee changes for special event permits. And on page 109, Mayor's Office of Human Services, grant agreement with the State of Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. No items are being moved to the routine agenda. There are the following abstentions. The Honorable President Nick Mosby is abstaining on page 15, Office of the State's Attorney Service Agreement with Washington, Baltimore, HIDTA, Mercyhurst University. The City Solicitor, James Shea, is abstaining on pages 57 to 58. The Bureau of the Budget and Management Research, FY 2022 Budget and Property Tax Surcharge Rate, Waterfront Management District. I am abstaining on page 36. Item number 26, Personnel, Enoch Pratt, Library, and there are no other abstentions. I have a notice of a special meeting. The Board of Estimates will convene for a special meeting on Tuesday, June 8th, 2021 at 4 p.m. via WebEx. The purpose of this meeting is to receive the report by the City Council on the adoption of the fiscal year 2022 operating and capital budget ordinance and to certify the real and personal property tax rate for fiscal year 2022. Members of the public can call in to the meeting and listen live by dialing 1-408-418-9388, access code 173-430-1656, and/or stream it live using the following link, https://www.charmtvbaltimore.com/live-stream. Sincerely, Nick J. Mosby, President. And there are no rejection of recommended awards or additional votes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. As we constantly talk as partners in progress between the Comptroller's office as well as the Mayor's office, this administration has really pushed for folks to have more transparency as well as accountability and accessibility to the Board of Estimates meetings. I think that with that, we've seen a lot of scrutiny of the items that have come on this agenda. We've literally turned a 15 or 20-minute meeting into sometimes a 2-hour long meeting of us really digging into the details. Many folks, again, have not necessarily been aware or participating in the process like they are now. And I think that's a testament to the work that we've continued to do to push out the importance of this body, as well as the work on this body. One action that this body has is the ability of deferring items. So when something winds up on the routine agenda, any member of this board can ask for that particular item to be deferred. Unfortunately, when the administration makes decisions and does not necessarily have enough time to brief either the comptroller or myself on those decisions, when we get the agenda, we have to defer so we can get additional information. That took place with the AM policy for new travel. Basically, there was a decision. It popped up on the agenda. We asked for it to be deferred so we could have a briefing with human resources. That briefing took place. And from that came additional questions and concerns for the administration to try to work with it. As it relates to the decision, as well as the policy committee that meant to develop the recommendations, again, my office nor the comptroller's office was participated in that, nor was briefed prior. So just like the dozens upon dozens of items that have been deferred in this particular term, this one fell into that. Right now, we have questions out to city solicitor to answer those questions, and I believe the comptroller also has some additional questions or concerns. So I went over that so folks in the general public will kind of understand and know the flow of how things come on the routine agenda, as well as why things are deferred off of the routine agenda for more time and discussion, so we can make the best decisions possible for the citizens of Baltimore. With that, now I direct the board's attention to the memorandum from my office dated June 1st, 2021, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the comptroller. I will entertain a motion to approve all the items contained on the routine agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of approving the items on the routine agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The routine agenda is now adopted. Now we're going to jump into the non-routine agenda items unless Mr. Comptroller stops me and tells me that we shouldn't be dealing with one of these items. The first item on the non-routine agenda today can be found on pages 50 through 51, Bureau of Budget and Management Research, fee changes to special event permits. This item relates to rates charged for police personnel contracted to work special events. We have Mr. Eric Melancon from the Baltimore City Police Department here to speak on this item. Mr. Melancon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Thanks so much. So part of this is in response to the city auditor's report in reviewing our secondary employment policy as relates to special events and indeed all secondary employment, which is billed out at a different rate than the actual overtime costs that are incurred by the city, by the department for the overtime or time and a half rate for members that serve in these secondary employment capacities. This is an attempt to provide a more aligned cost recovery schedule for officers, sergeants, lieutenants that are billed out by the city to vendors through our secondary employment program. Officers, these are essentially that off-duty kind of work in which they provide security services for a number of city events or events in the city, excuse me, but they all represent non-city functions. So that's as a secondary work, we want to ensure that we're getting proper cost recovery and being responsive to the city auditor's recent audit of this. And again, we're happy to answer any questions about this. It's our understanding that these rates have not been adjusted in quite some time, and just keeping up with the cost of the hourly rates has been something that this particular rate schedule has been lagging behind for quite some time. And so we're happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you, Mr. Melicon. At this point, the floor is yours, Mr. Comptroller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. Melicon. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
I'm looking for a little bit of a clarification. You said that the rate of pay that officers receive in response or in return for the secondary employment when they're working special events, it is or is not the same as overtime pay?
It is the same, yes. Pursuant
Okay.
to the labor agreement with the FOP, all secondary employment that's offered through the department, through these special events, must be compensated at the same overtime rates as what they would do if they were to fill, say, an extra shift on the job at the department. And so for us, it's a contractual requirement.
So, but it's still considered secondary employment.
Yes, sir, it is. It is done in a separate process, which we administer that to ensure fairness and equity in the distribution of those assignments. But overall, historically, the department has carried these kinds of opportunities for officers to be able to earn additional income outside of what is essentially departmentally required or departmentally motivated missions and objectives for its overtime. So this is not on the city's, it's not on the department's budget, it's on a different budget.
So I'm just looking at if you're a police officer and you sign up through the department's program to work at a CVS because CVS is contracted with the city to get off-duty officers. You're going to be paid through this program and you're going to be paid an overtime rate. But if independent of this program, an officer just chooses to go work in their off hours for a given business, they're going to make whatever the business chooses to pay them, and it won't count as overtime.
So that's the difference between what we offer as secondary employment or what you're calling outside employment. Outside
okay.
employment is something entirely different. We also manage a process for ensuring that anyone who does carry outside employment is following our policies on that as well, to ensure they're not participating in activities that would be against what our policies state on that policy. And I can forward that policy to you for your.
I would appreciate that. I'm trying to get at whether there is some advantage to the city to making sure that officers are getting overtime rates when they're working for doing non-city functions. Like, I understand the idea of overtime for the police department if we need an officer to work an extra shift to cover for someone who's not available. They're policing for that extra shift, and so they're getting time and a half. I'm unclear why they're getting time and a half to guard a particular business or a special event if it's not something that is actually policing per se.
That's a great question, sir. I think part of what we find in a lot of jurisdictions is that a lot of jurisdictions do it different ways. And our current agreement outlines the requirement that they are compensated at overtime rates for these kind of secondary employment activities. There are other jurisdictions that have either stratified forms of compensation received by officers. And we are actually exploring ways to completely outsource this function to a third-party vendor. We're looking at developing an RFI and trying to get an understanding of what could be offered for services on somebody who could do this entirely for the department outside of the department and be able to provide different rates of compensation based upon the complexity of the job. Not every secondary employment is created, depending on where it is. The Walgreens at on Monument Street versus the Walgreens in Roland Park, let's say. It's different complexity, different type of job that might require a different rate of compensation. And so right now, it is a contractual requirement. All must be covered based upon the hourly rates or time and a half rates earned by that member based on their step schedule. And if you look at that step schedule and you look at the rate which we're currently offering or currently invoicing to these businesses and to these events, it's effectively $45 an hour for an officer. That's pretty much eclipsed in actual costs by the vast majority of the hourly rates that are actually earned for overtime for these members.
So this is also as a reminder to the other board members that the need to adjust special event coverage fees was originally noted in Department of Audit's finding number 2 in last June's performance audit of the police department. Part of what the audits found was that BPD's, quote, crowd traffic and special events management does not track, monitor, and reconcile amounts collected or not collected from the entities that sponsor special events. Other than increasing the fees to make sure that we're covering all of our costs. Can you tell us a little bit about other changes the BPD has made to improve monitoring and collections of the special events fees?
Thank you. Yes. So part of what we're trying to ensure is that all of our contracts are updated. There'll be a series of moves helping with our legal affairs shop and the law department to be able to ensure that everyone's contractual requirements are updated, especially if this fee schedule is approved by the Board of Estimates today. But overall, it's a capacity issue for us. That's why we're looking at potentially outsourcing this entire operation to a third party who would make it their focus in ensuring adequate collection, but it would also pull the liability off the city entirely and place it on another entity that would be responsible for ensuring both the disbursement and the collection of the resources that are paid to officers and received from vendors for the compensation of this kind of work.
Just to be clear, though, if it was a third-party vendor coordinating this work, would it still count as secondary employment, or would it then be really well-organized outside employment?
It's a great question, and part of our review of this with the law department is to help draw that line and understand where it is. There are certain pieces of the puzzle that if we carry it a certain way, it's more like secondary employment. If we carry it a different way, it becomes more like outside employment. For the purposes of policy, though, the kind of jobs that we're talking about, like for like with other jurisdictions, what we're really talking about in this vein is secondary employment. And so part of the goal is to create that additional service and create kind of a clearinghouse for it that is much more efficient, much more effective in offering more positions for our officers, but offering a smart way of ensuring that there's adequate recollection of those fees that might be outstanding and so forth. And so that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. President, that was all that I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. At this point, are there any additional questions or concerns from other members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve or oppose this item.
I move that we approve it.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is now approved. The final item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 109, Mayor's Office of Human Services, grant agreement with the State of Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. This item was a late addition to today's agenda. Ms. Tisha Edwards, the Acting Director of the Mayor's Office of Homeless Services, will walk us through this item. Dr. Edwards, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Council President Mosby, Comptroller Henry, and Mayor Scott. I want to first thank you for allowing the Mayor's Office of Homeless Services, not Human Services for the record, the Mayor's Office of Homeless Services to add this item to the non-routine agenda. The reason we are asking for the Board of Estimates approval at this time is because this is a grant agreement with an escalated approval period. These are funds that have come from the federal government to the state to support our COVID-19 response. This grant, we received grant notification in March, but did not receive our grant award until May. And at that time, the state notified us that we did need to have full BOE approval by the end of this week, which is why we need to go on and seek your approval of this grant. It is for $2.5 million in state grant funding. These are essential funds because it will help to fund our shelter program for fiscal year 2022. And it will also fund behavioral health resources that are much needed to support our homeless neighbors, and a shelter diversion program, which will be new to our city with the hopes of keeping people from moving into shelters and diverting them from homelessness. So we do consider this to be essential to our programming for fiscal year 2022 and necessary to address our larger COVID response strategy for the Mayor's Office of Homeless Services.
Thank you, Director Edwards. I guess real quick, so the money will go towards folks, citizens who are currently experiencing chronic homelessness, but also folks who, if it weren't for these funds, would potentially be homeless as well. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that the shelter diversion program, Director Edwards, could you explain a little bit more to us about that?
Absolutely. So this would be a new initiative of the City Council President Mosby, where we have many families who just need a jump start. For example, they have a job, they don't have a deposit, they need assistance with the first month's rent. They have someone that's willing to rent to them, but they need a jump start. They don't have the resources to move into housing, many times housing that they have identified. And a lot of times people come into our shelter or become homeless because they need to save to get into the home. And so we would like to use these dollars with a partnership with the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success to have resources to divert folks from homelessness, to provide them some type of initial resource, again, in what would look like a deposit or first month's rent so that we would keep them from coming into our homelessness system and
Thank you.
divert them from shelters.
Yeah, we know as the residual effects of COVID-19, the issues of housing security will be significant in our city, and that is definitely an important aspect to go after. Out of the $2.6 million, Director Edwards, how much will be geared towards the shelter diversion program?
So about $200,000 would be.
Only about $200,000.
Well, we do have other resources, Council President, that we would be able to leverage outside of this grant. Again, this would be a new partnership between our two agencies. And so if we see that there is need, there are ways for us to continue to grow the programming, but this allows us to start that process immediately between the two agencies.
Understood. At this point, are there any additional questions or concerns from other members of the board?
Mr. President, just one.
Yes, I yield the floor to you, Mr. Comptroller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to get a clarification. I think I understand that the time pressure on this was that the state had given you a firm deadline of the end of this week for when they might have to reallocate the money. But I wanted to first clarify that the state has provided an assurance that they won't reallocate this award if the board approves the agreement today. But also, did they give any explanation as to why the timeline was so tight between when they notified you of the award and when you had to have it approved before they determined whether they were going to reallocate the money.
So first, Comptroller Henry, we have received assurances from the state that if we are able to provide a signed agreement by the end of this week, then we do have until June 2022 to expend down the funds. So we have a full year of programming available to spend the $2.5 million. In terms of the quick turnaround, this is just one of those situations where we are grateful that there's been an influx of resources coming from the federal government into the state and down into our local jurisdictions. And we all have kind of draw timelines that we have to work against. And so the state wanted to make sure we were going to accept the grant because they need time to redirect those dollars if Baltimore City were not going to participate in the program. And as you know, we are eager to participate in the program. The need is there. But we are a part of a larger system within the state of Maryland and making sure that localities have the funds, have a plan for the funds, and are committed to using the funds. And so that is what I think created the kind of expedited timeline, sir.
Okay, thank you.
At this point, are there any additional questions or concerns for Director Edwards? Hearing and seeing none, I will entertain a motion from this board to approve or oppose this item.
I move we approve it.
Second.
Since it's been moved and properly seconded, all those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is now approved. As there's no new business, I'm sorry, Comptroller Henry.
Mr. President, just very quickly, I wanted to call the board's attention to page 22. It was on the routine agenda, Department of Real Estate second renewal to interdepartmental lease agreement between DGS and BSIT. I just wanted to take a quick moment and give a shout out to both DGS and BSIT, as well as our own Department of Real Estate. In the first 6 months of our time on this board, this is the first interagency lease that we have brought to the board for approval that was not late and retroactive. The DGS and BSIT were able to get everything together and worked out, and with the facilitation of the Department of Real Estate, this lease is actually being approved a full month in advance of when it goes into effect. And I just wanted to call everybody's attention to the fact that we can do this. And so thank you for giving me that moment, Mr. President.
No, thank you for providing that information. At this point, are there any additional items that any board members would like to add at this point? Hearing and seeing none, as there's no new business before the board at our desk, we will recess until bid opening at 12 noon. I heard that it's going to be an adventure at 12 o'clock, but the Board of Estimates will reconvene for a special meeting on Tuesday, June the 8th at 4 p.m. to review the budget and certify the tax rates. Our next regular meeting will be June the 9th at 9 a.m. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. Baltimore, please continue to stay safe. Listen to all the health protocols as we continue to battle and fight COVID-19. Baltimore, we love you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, so I can start? Okay. Actually, I'm realizing, what I don't have is the regular script for all the stuff I'm supposed to read about okay. But I can start with the morning part. So, good afternoon. The Board of Estimates is in session for the opening of bids and other business. This meeting is being broadcast live on Charm TV, Channel 25, and streaming online at charmtvbaltimore.com/live-stream. Before we begin bid openings, the board will take up the agenda from our earlier session that was discussed at 9 a.m. today. City budget hearings preempted the 9 a.m. Board of Estimates session usually broadcast live on Charm TV and on Charm TV's website. To address that, this quorum of board members will officially vote on today's agenda at this time. The full discussion held by the board earlier this morning will be posted by Charm TV by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Accordingly, I refer the board members to the memorandum dated June 1st, 2021, issued by the Council President's Office, which listed items for consideration by the board on the routine and non-routine agenda. I will also read the opening statement from this morning's session and then call for the vote to approve the items on today's agenda. There were no changes or corrections in the agenda. The following protests were received on page 71 to 73, item number 2 and 3, Department of Public Works, Office of Engineering and Construction, SC 954, primary settling tanks numbers 3 and 4, rehabilitation at the Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant. A supplemental in response to protest was received from Robert Fulton DeShiel Esquire on behalf of Ullman Schutte Construction LLC. A supplemental to protest was received from Miles and Stockbridge PC on behalf of American Contracting and Environmental Services Incorporated. A second supplemental protest was received from Miles and Stockbridge PC on behalf of American Contracting and Environmental Services Incorporated. The following items were deferred or withdrawn from the agenda. On pages 3 and 4, Department of Planning non-construction consultant agreement with South Baltimore Gateway Partnership and James Corner Field Operations LLC is being deferred to June 9th, 2021. On pages 13 and 14, Department of Housing and Community Development land disposition agreement with American Communities Trust Incorporated is being withdrawn. On pages 71 to 73, item numbers 2 and 3, Department of Public Works, Office of Engineering and Construction, SC 954, primary settling tanks, numbers 3 and 4, rehabilitation at the Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant is being withdrawn. And on pages 81 to 108, the Department of Human Resources Administrative Manual Policies for New Travel Policy is being deferred to June 9th, 2021. The following items were moved to the non-routine agenda. Pages 50 to 51, Bureau of the Budget and Management Research, fee changes for special event permits. Page 109, Mayor's Office of Human Services, grant agreement with the State of Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. No items were moved to the routine agenda. The following abstentions were received by the board. On page 15, the Honorable President Nick Mosby abstained on Office of the State's Attorney Service Agreement with Washington Baltimore HIDTA Mercyhurst University. On pages 57 and 58, Honorable City Solicitor James Shea abstained on Bureau of the Budget and Management Research FY 2022 Budget and Property Tax Surcharge Rate, Waterfront Management District. I abstained on page 36, item number 26, Personnel, Enoch Pratt Library, and there were no other abstentions received. There were no votes and no rejection of recommended awards. At this time, I will accept a motion for all of the items on the routine agenda.
Move approval, move approval of all items on the routine agenda.
Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The following items are on the non-routine agenda. Discussion was already held this morning and will be replayed. I will accept a motion on page 50 to 51, Bureau of the Budget and Management Research, fee changes for special event permits.
So moved.
Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item is approved. Next item on page 109, Mayor's Office of Human Services grant agreement with the State of Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. Is there a motion?
Move approval of that item.
The item is moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Item is moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The item is approved. The one remaining business of this morning's meeting is to note that the following announcement was made for a special meeting from the President of the Baltimore City Council to the honorable members of the Board of Estimates. The Board of Estimates will convene for a special meeting on Tuesday, June 8th, 2021 at 4 p.m. via WebEx. The purpose of this meeting is to receive the report by the City Council on the adoption of the fiscal year 2022 operating and capital budget ordinance and to certify the real and personal property tax rate for fiscal year 2022. Members of the public can call into the meeting and listen live by dialing 1-408-418-9388 and using access code 173-430-1656 and/or stream it live using the following link: https://www.charmtvbaltimore.com/live-stream. Sincerely, Nick J. Mosby, President. All right. The Board of Estimates is now in session for the receiving and opening of bids. As part of the overall effort to limit transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the Board of Estimates is conducting bid openings virtually. Members of the public can call in to listen to bid openings live by calling 443-984-1696 and entering access code 0842939. Board of Estimates meetings are broadcast live on Charm TV, Channel 25, on Comcast Cable in Baltimore City, almost all the time. Meetings are also streamed on the internet at www.charmtvbaltimore.com/watch-live. The Board of Estimates will continue to conduct bid openings virtually while the state of emergency declared by the Mayor of Baltimore and the Governor of Maryland remain in effect. I have the following addenda to note. Department of Transportation TR 15301, construction of CCTV cameras and signal rewiring citywide. Please change the bid due date from June 2nd, 2021 to July 21, 2021. Department of Public Works SC 1002, cleaning and inspection of sanitary sewers in Baltimore City citywide. Please change the bid due date from June 2nd, 2021 to June 16th, 2021. Thank you. Bids to be received. Number one. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to move the agenda. I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to accept the addendum?
Move acceptance of the addenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we have bids to be received, starting with item 1, DPW SC 1003, cleaning and inspection of sanitary sewers in Baltimore City, various locations, with a bid bond of 2% if the bid is over $100,000. Okay. Yeah. The first bid is from Mobile Dredging and Video Pipe. They have a bid bond, And the total amount bid is $9,711,690.00. Second bid is from Spinello Companies with a bid bond, with a total bid of $4,433,000 and no cents. All right. Item number 2, DOT TR 19310, bicycle and pedestrian. Oh, I'm sorry, we skipped the
Motion.
we need a motion for those bids for the first contract to be sent to procurement or DPW.
I move that we send these bids to the Department of Public Works for tabulation and report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now on to item number 2. Department of Transportation TR 19310, bicycle and pedestrian safety, Baker Street and 20th Street. The first and only bid received is from P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated with a bid bond and a total bid of $637,668.00.
I move that we send this bid to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have proposal for Department of Transportation TR 21016 Vision Zero and Bike Program Maintenance and Construction. This bid is from P. Flanagan and Sons with a bid bond and a total bid of $1,262,699.00.
I move that we send this bid to the Department of Transportation for tabulation and report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The fourth proposal is Department of Recreation and Parks RP 20812 Pimlico Athletic Fields. First bid is from Allied Contractors Incorporated. They have a bid bond. And is it on page 5? What?
Page 5 of 18.
Doing the Allied, right?
Yes.
No.
Okay. This is 5 of 18, also 107RR.
Ah. Mine is blank.
Oh, looks like that's the duplicate.
Oh,
They
yeah.
filled in
Okay. Okay, with the total bid, Allied Contractors Incorporated, total bid is $648,500 and no cents.
Yes.
Okay. All right, next bid is from DSU Properties LLC.
Is it DSM or DSU?
Hold on, I'm looking.
DSM.
Is it DSM?
Yes.
Okay, DSM Properties LLC. And they didn't fill. This says original and it's not filled out with an amount. Here we go. Okay, well, I'm gonna.
Yep, they got it.
You got it? Okay, the DSM bid is $595,000 and no cents. Next bid is from Potts and Callahan Incorporated with a bid bond. And a total bid of $986,800.00. Next bid is from P. Flanagan and Sons Incorporated with a bid bond and a total amount of a bid of $668,300.00.
I move that we send these bids to the Department of Recreation and Parks for tabulation and report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. For the fifth proposal, Bureau of Procurement B50006239, Laboratory Services for Baltimore City Health Clinics. No bids were received. For proposal number 6, Bureau of Procurement B50006216, paper, various cuts, sizes, types, weights, and colors. There are no bid bonds for this. Okay. All right, the first bid is from B.W. Wilson Paper Company Incorporated. And is this an itemized bid such that there is no total?
Yes, it's itemized.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this is itemized, so there's no total bid price. And the second proposal is from Rudolph's Office and Computer Supply Incorporated.
move that we send these bids to the Bureau of Procurement for tabulation report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, this is number 7. Also no bid bond. Proposal number 7 is Bureau of Procurement B50006208, Mitel Voice over Internet Protocol, Software Maintenance and Hardware Support. This first bid is from Forerunner Technologies Incorporated with a bid amount of $219,000. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading this word. I think it's $761.57.
Can you repeat it, Mr. Comptroller?
$219,761.57.
I agree.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think that's 7.
I'm just trying to figure out how that's arrived at
So they add items 1
plus 2,
and 2.
but that is not what you get if you add. Oh, I see. I got it. Okay, I'm adding a single and a total together. I got it.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. The second bid is from Converge One Incorporated. The total bid of $1,098,898.35.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? 98,000.
$1,098,898.35.
Thank you.
I got a little better of a slide than I usually get. The next bid is from VoIP Networks. The total bid of $853,588.38. The next bid is from Vertical Communications with a total bid of $1,043,808 and no cents. And the last bid is from IPC Technologies with a total bid of $543,562.98.
I move that we send these bids to the Bureau of Procurement for tabulation report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is number 8, procurement Proposal B50006206, RFP Procurement Assessment and Transformation Technical Opening?
Yes, no prices.
So we're just reading the names? Okay. All right. The first bid is from GEP. Okay. Second bid is from Grant Thornton Public Sector LLC. Third bid is from Deloitte. I'm sorry, Deloitte Consulting LLP. Is this still 8? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is,
Yes.
okay. All this is 8?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you. The next bid is from Guidehouse Incorporated. The next bid is from Civic Initiatives LLC. The next bid is from Calyptus Consulting Group Incorporated. And that's it.
I move that we send these bids, technical bids, to the Bureau of Procurement for tabulation report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, ninth and final proposal from Bureau of Procurement B50006116. Provide personnel for CCTV cameras monitoring.
I think this is an itemized bid.
Okay, so, well, first I'm just trying to find out who it's from.
Crown Security Service. HB B9.
Ah, there we go. Okay, so this bid is from Crown Security Service. And is this an itemized bid? Because there's a total lump sum bid price that is, I have a numerical calculation for. Okay, there we go. I see it. It is spelled out. All right. This bid is for $2,818,624.50. This next bid is from Quality Security Solutions, LLC. And this bid is for $2,828,581.20. This bid is from Procopio and Associates Incorporated with a total bid price of $4,222,905.00. And then the final bid is from Watkins Security Agency. The total bid price of $2,833,017.00.
I move that we send these bids to the Bureau of Procurement for tabulation report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. If there is no other business before the board, I will say that the board stands in recess until next Tuesday, June 9th? 8th. I'm sorry, next Tuesday, June 8th at 4 p.m. when we will have a special meeting to receive a report from the City Council. Until then, stay safe. Thank you very much.